Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible and the
Yes,
screen is also visible.
you're audible, ma'am, and the screen is visible.
Yes. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Dinesh sir for this warm welcome. And I would like to, first of all, thank the entire team of Global Ayurveda Fest for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to present before you and share some of the experiences which come across in our clinical practice. First of all, I would like to highlight about the topic of today's presentation, that is Ayurveda for healthcare needs of children in challenging times, action to advocacy. Now, already 3 presentations have been done. All of them were wonderful presentations, highlighting the core aspects of Kamar Bhrutya and the work experiences with the different models, how it can be materialized in the day-to-day practice. Just for a introduction, I would like to say that primary health care is that which has the scope for treating the women and children, especially this vulnerable class of people in the society, with the 3 important objects, that is promotion of the health, care, that is well care of children during health as well as during the disease, and of course very important for Ayurveda is the prevention. So these are the 3 core concepts of primary health care, which is of course centered with a pediatrician, supported by healthcare personals, family and community. And ideally, for Ayurveda, it is suited, as I said, for the care of children as well as women, as it encompasses the local health traditions and conventional interventions. Now, this is already highlighted by Dr. Dinesh sir, that is regarding the National Health Policy 2017, which is the dream child of our esteemed Prime Minister sir. He believes that in new India with a healthy India is his vision, and he also projects that pluralistic and integrative scheme of health services should be there in India for the betterment of the people. Now we all know the strength of Ayush regarding the preventive promotive healthcare, then management of NCD, stress management, palliative care, and rehabilitation. Now, why there is a lot of emphasis on Ayurveda or the Ayush system is because of their little side effects, soft environmental footprints. You need not to.
मोबाइल में तो है प्रेजेंटेशन ना
Hello.
Yes, audible, madam. Please proceed.
Clear, sir. I'm extremely sorry for this because I endured with some technical problems with the Zoom. Hope this will continue uninterruptedly now. So we were just discussing regarding the national health policy, why the emphasis is given on Ayurveda or the Ayush systems is because of their local health traditions, which is engraved in the community. And coming to the national mortality indicators, so Sustainable Development Goals says that maternal mortality rate should be less than 100 by 2020. So also neonatal by 16 by 2025, infant mortality 28 by 2019, and under 5 mortality 23 by 2025. Here I would say that Indian policy is so good that we are almost at the place to reach the goals which is set up by the national health policy. But still, the government of India is wishing to partner with Ayush for the faster and better health outcomes. Now, this chart shows us very well that how fastly we are approaching the set goals in the national health indicators. But still, why there is a need for this? In an answer to this, we can just go through the causes for the child mortality, which says that even today, the highest mortality is secondary to the nutritional causes, prematurity, and the recurrent respiratory problems, especially the acute respiratory problems like pneumonia, that makes the Indian statistics to look low. Now coming to considering these factors, Ayurveda can cater better services in these areas. So the focus, primary focus for Ayush doctors should be the four important areas like promotion of health through nutrition, immunity. Hello.
Ma'am,
Hello?
you're audible. Please go on, ma'am.
Yeah. Safe drinking and safe environment. So these should be available for our children and women, especially in the reproductive age, so that we can meet the needs of the society. Now, why this specifically for women and children is they form a vulnerable group, and very well we know that the peculiarities of children, especially in Balyavastha, is because of their aparipakva dhatu, ajata venjanam. The shloka is well known to everyone. So that means their innate anatomical, physiological deficits and immunological deficits make them vulnerable for this. And at times, the challenging times may be faced, just like we had encountered the COVID-19, where, the whole system gets disturbed and there is a, survival of the fittest. So the person who is strong with its immunological system can survive. So this becomes an essential part of life, that this can happen not only in pandemics, even in natural disasters can have a detrimental impact on the child health. So in these situations, we should be ready to face them. And innately speaking, the Garbhavastha, Balyavastha and Kumaravastha, these three age group itself are considered the critical age group for child health, which requires utmost focus. Now, if we come to the National Health Mission, so we have a program called Reproductive, Maternal, Newborn, Child, Adolescent Health and Nutrition. So this particular initiative of the government is focusing on whatever the four the focus points we just discussed regarding the nutrition, the safe environment and drinking water, and the immunity. These are the areas, four areas which is highly focused by this particular initiative. Now, the government wants ourselves to identify these thirst areas and then start contributing from the Ayush point of view. So how to do this is, in the morning, Dr. Rajgopal sir was in the first presentation highlighting upon the imbibing of Ayurvedic principles into the practice. So how to practice or how to imbibe these principles is through what we say that the Ayush system or the Ministry of Ayush should promote the following programs, like we have Janani Suraksha Yojana for the deliveries, safe deliveries, and we have to promote Ayush kit for the ladies right from the antenatal period for ensuring the safe delivery programs. Similarly, ICDS programs should also be incorporated with the Ayush ideas. Then RCH programs, the nutrition and the immunity practices should be incorporated in the RCH programs. Similarly, early breastfeeding to enhance the nutritional qualities for the newborn, as well as to sustain the development and growth of the child. Then periodic growth monitoring is also very essential to be catered by the Kaumarabhrutta postgraduation to reach the sustainable development goals. Next, coming to how this can material, it cannot happen in overnight, and it cannot be done with a single person or single institute, because India is such a vast country. Now, if we just look into what are the strengths which the Ayush system has, across India, we have 3,277 Ayush hospitals, which covers around 25,000 dispensaries and with a bed strength of 62,000. And Government of India itself in the 12th 5-year plan identifies this. Out of this, 10,000 beds are fit for the safe delivery programs under the Ayush schemes. Now we have to materialize these particular things, and in the National Ayush Mission also it is said that now the focus is on developing or the setting up of health and wellness centers all over the India, and already 12 service delivery areas are effectively working. And we also know that these are some of the areas which are specialized or skilled workers are required, not only the general Ayush doctors, even I would say that the postgraduate scholars from Kaumarbhitya and Prasuti Tantra should approach these areas for the specialist care. And we know that around 75 postgraduate institutes are there in India, and approximately maybe around 200 Kaumarbhitya PG scholars are coming out every year. And maybe we are in a few thousands registered specialists of Kaumarbhitya, which needs to be posted at crucial points of these dispensaries. Say, for example, to cover the PHC, where even conducting safe deliveries is not a realistic thing, even in almost all PHCs. So where the Kaumarbhitya people can actually take over, and they can render the skilled services in these following areas. So that should be the effect. That should be the motto of the Ayush department, where to post the Kaumarbhitya PGs. Once that is done, they can definitely start incorporating the principles of Ayurveda effectively in the maternal and child welfare services. Similarly, one of the best example which is set by Government of India itself is RBSK, where Ayush doctors are appointed to monitor the growth potentials as well as to screen the congenital anomalies in children. But there, the services of Ayush doctors is only limited to the screening purpose, and that should not happen. If we do that thing like appointing Ayush doctor to cater the health services through the existing system of medicine, that means we will not end up in having the better outcomes. So the area should be such that where the Ayush doctors, especially the KBNs or Prasuti specialists, should be able to incorporate the principles of maternal and child healthcare of Ayurveda. Now at community level, once the person starts practicing, it is very easy. Not only this maternal and child healthcare, even the management of childhood illnesses would be easy when you are available at the community for the people. So for example, I would like to share some of the experiences in this. Before coming to this case scenario 1, so there was an instance which happened in our hospital. Like one lady approached us with a child of 1 month, and she said that the child is always presenting with a distension of the abdomen, not feeding well, always irritability is a factor which is in fact disturbing the mother and the whole family. And when we examined, so we just thought that this child is suffering from the Shula, that is the infantile colic. So we inquired, then they said the child is already on the 2 allopathic medications which was prescribed, but with no relief. Then to our surprise, during that time we were working on 2 the ARCA preparations to be put into practice in our hospital. So we just started with our Supacha ARCA, and we just gave it as a trial medicines, and we asked for some of the investigations for the child. And to our surprise, within 2 days, the lady is back, and she started asking not for the management and other conditions. She started, "Madam, please give me that medicine, and that works wonderful for this child. And I am totally free of the stress which because of my kids suffering I was into." So this was the scenario, and we just further evaluated and continued with, of course, Supacha ARCA. And our evaluation revealed that the child was, suffering from these complaints secondary to the primary lactose intolerance the child was having, because mother never knew that. In the history, we revealed that the father was never taking milk and milk products because he was not interested. But later, detailed inquiry brought it to our notice that he was a case of lactose intolerance, and which was left unaddressed. And a simple Ayurvedic preparations was good enough to relieve the child's complaint, and it carried out for about 6 to 8 months. In fact, she was from the other district other than our STM hospital, but still she kept continuing the medications, and the child was free enough from the discomfort. So this can happen. This does happen in the society. When you are at a community very close to, accessible to the people, they can approach you for varied conditions which can be managed with Ayurveda. So for example, in this first scenario, at birth, if you are there for the delivery with the patient, the KBN can definitely render service to promote and initiate the breastfeeding. And the newborn Abhyanga, and which Rajgopal sir was highlighting on this particular measure, because one of the highly sought cause for solving in the Indian health system is the low birth weight, prematurity, and the problems with appear in the newborn secondary to sepsis, hypothermia, these things. So simple measure of doing these things can curtail a lot of impact of these things in the health indicators. Similarly, mothers complaining of lactation failure, we get almost every day, we get at least one case telling that there's not enough milk, and the baby is always put on the infant feeding formulas. And we know when we start with Ayurvedic interventions for improving the breast milk, definitely the amount of usage of the infant formulas will come down, and the patient starts feeling better with this. So the counseling and the initiation of galactogogues in the form of maybe Shatavari powder, Shatavari Guda, whatever it is, some other drugs which we practice regularly, can aid in the relief of such trivial complaints, which can later have a greater impact on the child's health. Sometimes even correction of the diet to the mother can also improve the lactation in the mother. Say, for example, addition of greens like spinach, methika, shiguru, mishreya, shatapushpa, palando, lashana, kshira, gudapaniya, chandrashura for that matter, is going to improve the lactation in the mother and consequent upon the child's health. Now, we had conducted some researches on some galactogogues, especially that with the Kokilaksha and Vidarigandha. And in both the studies, we found that both the drugs, the Kokilaksha in the form of capsule of 500 milligrams and Vidarigandha powder, and later it was also studied in the form of capsule, was good enough and showed significant improvement in the lactation and reduced the features of lactation failure. And it was, good to bring about the satisfaction in terms of mother as well as child's growth. So this has been some of the research findings which we have come across in our institute. Next, coming to the next scenario, infant colic, child's intermittent incessant cry, distension of the abdomen, how the Ayush can render the services. So I had already shared my experience with Supachi Arka, similarly, Ajomoda Arka, Omam water, and simple training of the mother in feeding postures and burping techniques, simple abdominal massages for the baby, maybe application of Vacha Churna around the umbilicus. These all measures go very good in relieving the acute problems which the baby can face. Similarly, we have come across avoiding certain diet or certain food in the maternal diet also reduces the severity of the colic. So, for example, avoiding peas. groundnuts, similarly wheat, or sometimes certain legumes like say for example this one alasundekkai what we speak. Then similarly masha products which are present in the food, if you, and similarly this cowpeas, sometimes if you avoid, they go long and impact child's to reduce the effects of infantile colic in the baby. Similarly, the addressing maternal stress and improving the sleep quality in the mother is also one of the factor which can reduce the difficulties with regards to the infantile colic. Now, this is about the infants, newborns and infants. Now, if we move on to the well baby care, or the care in the toddler age group, immune boosters, Swarnaprashana, immunization, clinical anthropometry and malnutrition, screening of developmental delays. One of the very nicely rendered project was shared by Dr. Roshni Anirudhan. Then advice on complementary feeds, preparation of the cultural home-based complementary feeds, management of infantile bowel disorders, home-based oral rehydration solution in the period of crisis. So for example, during fever and during the bowel disturbances, especially the loose stools, if the mother is educated about the use of these things, they can prevent the effects of high-grade fever and dehydration in the child. Similarly, child protection, warning signs, and continued care are the core areas where the KBNs can contribute and convert these things into a better health indices. I mean to say that just like we have health and wellness centers as a project, in the same way there should be a project which emphasizes the well baby clinics in the practice, where the KBNs can monitor all these things. A simple training may be required to sensitize Ayurvedic KBNs regarding the screening of certain illnesses, which can be very well done by them. And along with these services, they can even render service to the national programs like immunization and the dehydration management, then deworming day. These things can be very well handled by the KBNs in the well baby clinic, which if materialized at the community level could be one of the greatest things that can happen to the Ayurveda and especially for Kamar Bhrutya. Now, regarding Swarna Prashna, I would like to highlight some of the points because that is the trump card for KBNs to practice in the present as well as in the future times. So, for example, we had conducted a lot of programs or even researchers on Swarna Prashna. Initially, we started around 33 children giving Swarna Prashna, then converted to 330. Then in the following months, we had 5,000 plus children visiting our hospital at a single instance of Swarna Prashna every month. That was the impact which initially created on the society, and it was started as a public health initiative in the STM College of Ayurveda. So we just thought it should not go waste and we should come out with some research findings. So we started having some researches where we advocated the daily usage of Swarna Prashna as well as monthly usage of Swarna Prashna based on the requirement. And to our surprise, you can see that we had conducted a randomized control study in about 60 children. Out of which 30 children received Swarnamrita Prashna in a dosage of 200 milligrams once a day, early in the morning on empty stomach for a period of 3 months with a control, which was a normal control. And the outcomes were assessed based on the, of course, nutritional anthropometry along with the developmental scale for Indian infants. And we can see that highly significant results we could assess in case of both motor as well as mental clusters. So motor and mental clusters were highly
Yeah, it's visible. Yes, yeah, it's
Screen
visible,
is
madam.
visible,
And we
sir,
need to
now?
wind up the session by 4 o'clock.
Fine, sir. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So we encountered this much of changes in this particular study. Use of Swarnamrita Prashana in case of recurrent cough and common cold. And to our surprise, again, highly significant results we could notice.
Madam, please unmute. Please unmute, madam. It's automatically muted.
Ma'am, you're not audible, ma'am. Please check your microphone.
Please unmute, madam.
Dr. Reena, ma'am, can you hear us? Can you please unmute your microphone?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please go on.
So there was a study we conducted regarding the monthly usage of Swarnamrita Prashana, and we can see the 43% improvement in the IgG factors and highly significant results in all the recurrent respiratory and GI infections. Similarly, on growth and development also in case of infants and toddlers, monthly usage of Swarnamrita was studied, and all presented to be having a high impact on the child's health. So next comes is monitoring the toddler and children. So here in this age group, speech and communications, learning disabilities, oral hygiene again becomes a highly areas to be screened. So also toilet training, bedwetting in the children are the more common complaints. Then recurrent seasonal illness management, worm infestation, common atopic illnesses of children can also be addressed at this age group in the well baby clinics, which is supposed to materialize. So prevention of malnutrition is again one of the very important area. So there are a lot of works in the field of anemia for children. So there was a study on the pills, there was study on the suspensions. And if we imbibe these things, say for example, Triatricadiloha suspension administration for about 3 months, along with the correction of the Agni in these children, can go with the results at par with that of the iron supplements. Similarly, in the school health initiatives, Prakriti monitoring. See, we had again conducted one survey on around 573 school children who visited us for the general health checkup. And we monitored their Prakritis, and we just even studied the impact of this Prakriti on their nutritional status. And we found that most of the Vata and Vata Pradhana Prakriti children were prone to develop nutritional related concerns, while the obesity was more common in Kapha dominant Prakritis. And the stress disorders were again associated more with that of the Vata Pradhana Prakritis. So these identifications give us a way to plan our health services in the futures. Similarly, we had done an anemia study in high school children. We had screened around 3,500 children, and the anemia prevalence was about 22% in the Hassan district. And 539 children were enrolled for the study with Datriloha as the study drug and IFS tablet for the 3 months as control. And within the span of 3 months, there was 1.5 to 2 grams of HB increase was seen in these children. And to our surprise, the compliance with the Datriloha was better as compared to the IFS tablets. The children had experienced very less gastric irritation and less episodes of vomiting, and better health outcomes were seen with regards to Datriloha. Similarly, Punanava Mandura and one CCRS funded project on Dadimadhigruta was also conducted. And these showed a very good impact on the health status of the children. Some of the best examples which I can quote where these models can be adopted for Komarbhutya in the public health includes this Ardram project, which is being done by the government of government of Kerala, where you carry the hospital itself to the community, where the people approach this center for the management of common illnesses. Similarly, the scheme for adolescent girls, which was again very successful in Karnataka and Orissa, which was funded by the government of India. The nutritional supplements, CFTRI of Mysore had developed a groundnut chickpea with spirulina to boost the immunity. Similarly, Amrutam ICDS project of Kerala seems to be one of the best examples which are set where we can imbibe the Ayush principles and go to the community for the better services. And regarding adolescents, I would like to highlight 3 things for them. That is menstrual education, reproductive education, and management of stress and eating disorders. And all these can be very well be done by Ayush KBNs. And of course, imbibing yoga and meditation can solve almost 50% of these problems, and the children can have the better outcomes in their academic as well as the behavioral performances. Now coming to these things, cannot happen in overnight. So there should be a planned work that should happen from the very ground level. So just like we have ASHAs, ANMs, then primary health centers, CHOs, VHOs in the other system, the same has to be planned right from the ground level, even for the Ayush. So then only these things can be effectively implemented in the community. And there should be, though we are speaking of certain research projects which is done by various scattered institutions all over India, but I think that is not good enough to convert these findings into a national policy. Something to be coming under national policy means government has to take up seriously funded programs with a multi-centric trials, with a partnership with the private entrepreneurs, and right into the community. These projects can definitely translate themselves into government policies. Some of the thrust areas which we can think of these multi-centric trials includes the Swarna Prashana, again 1 year Swarna Prashana regularly for infants, or monthly Swarna Prashana till 1 to 5 years, 40 minutes yoga period for school children from standard 1. And to improve the absorption in the nutritional supplements, we can even advocate some use of some of the Indian spices, so that can correct the Agni and have a better nutritional outcome. Just to coming to the concluding slides, see, these all things will benefit or will materialize only when we are able to communicate effectively, both with the government level as well as to the community. So the IEC materials are very, very important to communicate these things to the society. And of course, our all efforts will be based on our medicinal flora, conservation of the medicinal plants, and effective and better and without much wastage usage of this flora is very, very essential. So this information should be passed on to our next generation right from the school levels, so that they can conserve these things, they can start using it, then they can have a better faith in the system of Ayush, and this will further create the demand and market in the global level. And the best slogan which I think at this level is think globally. We need to globalize our system, but for better health indices, we need to act locally. When we reach the community, then only we'll be able to have the better indices. With this, I would like to conclude my speech. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you again.